Hi everyone, welcome to Needful Things again. Everybody come on in, get your yarn, grab your hooks. I'm doing this one also for my Camp Boggy Creek collection. It will be a 40 by 50 when it's complete. I'm not complete because I have things to show you. I'll start you off on how to do the pattern. It's a very simple repeat, just 2-row repeat. It's single crochet, double crochet, and a chain stitch. That's all it is. It's very beautiful, and up close you'll see that it's sort of like mosaic where the little white's peeking in through the purple windows or the squares or what have you. And the good thing is it is also something you can use on both sides depending on which one you like the best. I think both sides are beautiful actually. So yeah, that's coming up today on Needful Things again, so I hope you enjoy. And we're going to tie off each row as we finish, which is going to drive you crazy with all those ends, but you don't have to sew them in. I'm going to show you how to do a double-edged border, which will enclose all these little things. And they're very tight once you tie the end of the row. I'll show you how to do that so they're tight. And then we'll just cut them down a little bit, and we'll do a row around, and then I'll show you how to do the double-edged border. So join me today on Needful Things again. Please like and subscribe, and thank you for everyone that has subscribed. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. So I hope you enjoy this pattern. So now to get started with our Afghan for Camp Boggy Creek, or for whatever you want to use it for, you can make it as large as you'd like. It has to be, your foundation row will start with an odd number. You have to have an odd number of stitches on the foundation row, and the whole thing has an odd number of stitches, like 13, 101. And the blanket that I'm doing for the Afghan for Camp Boggy Creek pattern is 40 by 50, and it's going to be 40 by 50 horizontal and vertical. So the horizontal part will be 40, and then the vertical will be 50, so it's 50 long, 40 wide. Because they need it to be 40 by 50 inches. That's, I think, the largest one they allow. So, and of course it's acrylic yarn, weight 4. I'm using white, and I'm using a purple color. Purple color is my foundation color, so I'll be starting with that first, where I'll be doing a chain. If you're doing the same size blanket, you can make it as large or as small as you'd like. Like I said, just keep an odd number on your foundation row. I did 101 stitches on my foundation row for the Camp Boggy Creek blanket that I just showed you that I'm working on, and I'll bring that back in later as after I teach you the stitch, the pattern. So we take our yarn. I'm using a 6.5 millimeter hook, Susan Bates, a little bit larger than I would normally use, but I just wanted it a little spacier. Now these ends, like I said, are all going to be sewn in. I'm tucked in later, not sewn in. So just make a slip stitch, leave a little tail there. Chain, your odd number. If you're making the blanket 40 by 50, you'll chain 101. You'll need 101 stitches in the foundation for the Camp Boggy Creek blanket that I'm making. You can make yours larger or smaller. If you want to make a baby blanket, you can make it into a square, just as long as you have odd number on the foundation row. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, whoops, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, and I have a little bit of a loose tension except for that one there. So that should be 15 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh Lord, I can't even see that. That is just ugly, and I'm going to do it again. This yarn is a little curly because it was previously in something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, hold your finger on 15 plus 1, Then go back into the, we're going to work in the back bumps now. So go in the back bump of that 15th stitch. Pull your loop through and create a single crochet. Very simple. We're working in these back bumps of the stitches all the way down. I'll have 15. I'm doing the sample. If you're doing a work sample, you can do the 15 as well and learn how to do it before you make your larger piece. I always recommend that. Of course, you know you can rewind the pattern as many times as you need to. And we're just going to go in the back bump, pulling our loop through and making our single crochet. Back bump, pull your loop through. If you have a little bit of a fingernail, it helps you hold that, pull that stitch right there so you can get it a little bit better. If you have trouble with that, sometimes your yarn could be slippery. Okay, so we'll go down the row and finish our 15 stitches. In the back loops, single crochets. Very simple, right? And it's absolutely beautiful. And it would make a great blanket for if you're doing a baby blanket for someone, or you have a baby yourself. I don't know how you'd have time to crochet if you have a baby yourself, but maybe you have a nanny. So, coming to the end here. And then that one last one tries to hide there. That should be 15. Okay, and then we're going to give it a little stretch out, you know. You know how I do. And that should be 15. Let's make sure. Stitches, that's our odd number. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over and turn your work. Now we're on that first stitch. This counts as a double crochet. Every time you do the chain 4, it counts as a double crochet plus a chain stitch. So now we're going to skip the second stitch and go into the third stitch and just do a double crochet right in that single crochet, just like that, and then chain 1. I like to give that corner a little tug. Yarn over, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, and you just do that all the way to the end. We just chain 1, skip 1. We're in our last stitch now. That will be a double crochet. Okay. Now we're going to change our yarn, so pay attention. Get your next color. I call them color A and color B. Since there's only 2, it makes perfect sense. Now here's how I'm going to do it. If you want to finish that stitch, tie off and tie on, you can do that as well. This is much easier for me. I'm holding the last 2 parts of that double crochet is half done, so we have 2 loops left to finish the double crochet. I'm just going to take my yarn, sort of fold it over like that, put it right on the hook, just like that. Have a little tiny tail, you don't need a lot, and just grab the purple or whatever color you're using, pull it through those last 2 loops of your double crochet. So we're finishing our double crochet. Just give it a little bit of a tug, not too much. Pull that white yarn a little tug, and then grab your white yarn and do 1 chain stitch. And then what I do is I just cut off the purple. Ooh. And then I'm going to take these 2 ends and I'm going to tie them in a knot. And we're going to do this very carefully and very softly. It's not a tight knot. You see what I'm doing? I'm just barely pulling it a bit. Then I'm going to try it again the second time. And the second time you can tie it tight. Okay, so that is good and tight. And when we do trim that off when we do the border, it won't make a difference. It will never come undone. Okay, so we've chained one and we're going to turn, this is what we just created. We did our foundation row, then we chained 4. We did all the little cages, if that's what you want to call them. I like to call them windows. And then chain 1 and turn your work after we've tied on our new color. That's how I do it. You can do it a different way if you like. I find this very easy. Okay, so in that very first stitch, we've got our chain 1. We're going to go in and pull up a loop and do a single crochet. Okay, it's that simple. Okay, now where we are, we just did the first one here. So we have this window open here. And if you look down to the first row, right here is our single crochet, right down here. And that's where we're going to get our next stitch from. And it's going to be a double crochet, and we're going to come in from the back. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I like to sort of pinch that corner a little bit so it doesn't like stretch out. Yarn over. Make sure your yarn stays on your hook, so bend it that way. You're going to come in through the back, right here like this. And we're going through the front of the single crochet down here. So if you'll find that single crochet, pull the hook towards your body, and you just push through that single crochet on the first row of your foundation row. Pull your loop through. Okay, you want me to do it again. Yarn over, go through the back, and then go into the second stitch on the first row there. We're going into that stitch, pull the hook towards your body, go through the stitch, pull your loop through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, it's that simple. Now on the very next double crochet right here, which would be the next stitch or the third stitch, we're going to go in there and just simply do a single crochet, because that's helping us keep the height that we need to keep everything together in the right proportions. Okay, so in the next stitch, it's going to be that back double crochet that's coming into the row below. Go in, go into the single crochet in the first row, turn the hook towards your body, you see, and you're going through the stitch, pull your loop through, yarn over, and finish your double crochet. And that's what you're doing, okay? Then we go to the next double crochet right here, and we're going to do a single crochet. Okay, just like that. And every stitch across, the single on the bottom row gets the double here gets the single. It's the opposite. Yarn over, go behind, go into that bottom stitch, bring the hook towards your body. Just go right through the top of that stitch like if you were going through a regular single crochet. Yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, and go through 2 more. Okay, I'll just shut up and do a few. And once you get the flow of the pattern, it is so quick and so much fun to do that you're going to have trouble stopping. I have to make myself stop when I'm working on this pattern. It's just fun to do it. And it moves along so quickly that I think it may be a real go-to for me for some of my Boggy Creek blankets, because they need lots of blankets. And a lot of my patterns are fun, but some of them do take a little more time. This one is very quick. So we're on the last one, so we're going to go to that bottom stitch there, that single crochet on the previous row, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, and now here we are where we did our chain 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then there's the chain. So we're going to go right here in this chain here, the third chain up, that's like the corner of the stitch, and you're going to go into that chain 3, and yarn over, and you're going to pull in to do a single crochet, but we're going to change back to our purple yarn. So we've got our single crochet on the hook, that's 2 loops. Okay, so I'm going to cut this white yarn. Oh no, yes, we're going to do this on every row. But don't worry, you don't have to sew these ends in. I told you that already. So we're going to do the same thing. Just make a little loop over our finger. Put it on the hook. Grab that white one so you don't lose your stitch. Pull it through. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I just do that so it secures it a bit. Then I take my 2 ends. Same as before. Just give them a gentle little tug. You don't want to pull your stitches in, make everything ugly. And then you give it a second tie. So you don't need a lot of yarn here. And that one you can do tighter. Then you have your 4 chains on the hook, yarn over and turn your work. You've already got your first double crochet and your chain stitch there. So what we do here is we're skipping this double crochet here, and we're going right to the single crochet, which will be the 3rd stitch, and you will put in a double crochet just like that. And then I like to grab that 3rd chain there because that's going to be your corner again. Like that, I hold it, and then I yarn, and then you do your chain stitch, chain 1, yarn over, skip that double crochet, go into that single, and do a double crochet, chain 1, just like we did the first time, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, there's a double you skip, so that's a single, so you know it's going to be a double now. That'll all make sense to you. Chain 1, skip that double, the last one is a single, and that's where we'll put a double. Previously it was a single. And here, now this is really quick for me because my row's a lot longer. I did 101 stitches for the big one I'll start working on in a moment. So now here we're going to change our yarn again. Cut your yarn, bring in your white, same way, give it a little loop, put it on your hook, grab that previous purple one so it doesn't get away from you, pull through, with the white we're going to chain 1 or your bee color, find those 2 ends there, give them a gentle little tie, not too tight, and then give them one more little tie, 2 ties in your knot, and that one you can tie tight. You've already got your chain 1 on. We're going to go in the first stitch, do a single crochet, yarn over, go behind, drop down to that previous stitch, go into the top of that double crochet from the previous row, and do a double crochet. Then in this double crochet here, the next stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. And we're going to do that back around double crochet. Then we're going to do a single crochet in the next double crochet. Then we're going to do that back door double crochet there. Then we're going to do a single crochet in the next double crochet. And that should make sense to you by now to see what we're doing. Okay? So the next stitch would be what? That's correct, a double crochet. And then in this double crochet here, you'll be putting your single crochet. And it just keeps everything, you know, the way it should look. And you're making your little windows. I'll finish this row and then I'll pick up my larger piece because you can see that worked a lot more. And like I said, there's only 2 rows to repeat, so you can zoom through. And it's a beautiful pattern. I don't have a name for it. If you'd like to name it, put it in the comments. It's just for the kids at Camp Boggy Creek pattern. There's my last double crochet in that one below. Now I find my third chain. You know that's the chain right there. You know that's the third one there, and that will be a single crochet, of course, because it was that 3 chains counts as a double. Now I'm just going to like pull this out right here because I'm going to move on to the larger piece, but I wanted you to be able to get an understanding of how the stitch works and how you do it. And that's what you're going to be coming out with. Your first row is your foundation row. Make it an odd number. Then we did the first row of cages, and then the white from the back. And when you turn it over, you have this totally reversible pattern, which is really cool. And here I would just change colors the way I showed you. And I'll begin to work on the larger piece so that you can see that. Okay? Hi, how you going on your blanket, your Afghan or your throw, whatever you decide to call it. I just wanted to show you what I'm doing. I've worked up a rather large section. I've got about 9 rows left. I just count my purple squares as the whole row because this one goes inside of it, so it's kind of like one row, you know. Okay, so I'm working on the white row now. I just did a single crochet in that double. So now I'm going to go behind and go in that one below and double crochet, single crochet in that double. You know the drill. I know sometimes it helps me when I can watch someone just working the pattern, so. Now I'm in my last drop down double, I'll call that. So I'm going to go into my third chain for my last single crochet in that row. This is where I always change the color. So I'm just going to keep that one on. Grab my yarn. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to cut the white yarn. Find our 2 ends there. Give it a little tug, don't do it really tight. And then do it one more knot. And the second knot you can tighten it. And then we will just turn our work. We've already got our first double crochet in chain 1, counting that 4 chain there. So we'll just yarn over and go into that single crochet, skipping that double, chain 1, Here I like to grab the corner so it starts to pull the square out. I've chained one, skip the double, go in the single. Chain one, skip, go in the single, do the double. And now we're working on the purple. I'm going to continue repeating this until I get to 50. I'm not going to 50 inches because I want my finished piece to be 50 inches. But I'm going to leave about 2 inches on all the way around the piece so that when it's finished it's 40 by 50. But I want to do the double edge border on it to show you how to do that, to get rid of all those ends without having to sew them in. And a double border is perfect for that, because it encapsulates all those little tie-ins inside the border. So we're going to do that when we finish this. So keep working on your piece until you get 50 inches. So I think I'm going to go to like 48, 49, 50, somewhere like that. So I can get about 2 inches of border on the top and the sides. So I'll get 40 by 50 when it's done. But if you're sending it to Camp Boggy Creek and it's for them, don't be worried if you're not exactly 40 by 50 inches, because they won't throw it in the garbage or not use it. They will find a purpose. But I try to get as close to it as possible. And if you do want to make any of these for Camp Boggy Creek and send them there, you need to watch that short video I did about it. Camp Boggy Creek. I don't remember what the title is called in the video, but there's, I think, a gray colored blanket or something on it. And it probably has Camp Boggy Creek in the title. And it's probably connected to one of the other videos, so. So I'm just going to continue until I get to about 48 inches, and then I'll come back and show you how we're going to finish off. Because you remember our last row will be just like our first row, which was a row of single crochets. And that's how we'll end it as well. So I'll come back and do that with you, okay? Okay, so I've reached I've done my last row of white. And I have attached my purple again. Chain one, and I'm going to turn my work. I've got it to like 48 inches. And I'm going to do a 2-inch border all the way around, so it's about 38 down across as well. So that when it's finished, it'll be 40 by 50. And if you want to know how many rows I did of this, I did 55 rows. And the way I counted my rows is I just counted the purple rows. There's 55 rows of the purple. Like that. And now I've attached it, so we're going to finish off the body of our work. So in the first stitch, we're going to do a single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and that's all we're going to do to finish it off. So it's sort of just encases our little white stitches on the end there. Okay? And where's our other side? So we started with the single crochet there, and we're going to end with it. Okay, and that's all we're going to do to end this pattern. And then we'll come back and show you how to get started on the border. Okay? Very simple. So I'm going to finish this row and I'll meet back up with you. So I've made it to the end of the row of single crochets on my last row. Here's what it looks like on the other side. So what we're going to do here is we're going to keep our purple on. We're not doing white any longer. We'll only be working with the purple. So I'm going to get rid of my 6.5 millimeter hook. And I'm going to get my 6 millimeter hook. It's like a 6 millimeter, half a step down. And I'm going to put that in. Then I'm going to chain one. And I'm going to turn my work. And this whole entire edge will be worked, of course, on the right side of the fabric. And we have our purple now, which we'll be working with from here on out. So I'm going to just yarn over. I'm going to do a double crochet in that very first stitch. No chains, just the turning chain that we had. And that would not count as a stitch. I'm going to put my marker in there, just so I'll know that I'm working there on that section. And we're just going to go all the way across and do a double crochet. So we're going to continue all the way across the edge to the other side with our double crochet. And we're going to do the edging on this end, then we're going to tie off and do the other end, and we'll do the two sides last. Okay? So we're going to go across to this side, chain one and turn, and then I'll show you what to do there. So continue working across with your double crochets. Make sure you switch to your smaller hook. So I'll meet you at the end of this row on the other side and show you what we're going to do next. So I'm coming to the end of that first row, and we're in the last stitch. Then we're going to chain one, and we're going to turn the corner, and we're going to go down that rough side where all the squiggly strings are. Now when you go down that side, just make sure you push them all sort of forward like that, like so they're not on the top. And then we're going to we chained one, so we're going to go into this first where the white stitch is, and just that's where we're going to pull our stitch from to make that little corner, and it's of course double crochet. And then we're going to put a double crochet there, And in the purple section where there's 3 chains, we're going to try to get 2 double crochets in each one of those spots there, like that. Then we're going to try to get one where there's a white one. Make sure all your little strings are pushed down so they'll start to disappear. Okay, then when you get to the purple section there, push your strings down. In the purple 3 where there's 3 chains, we're going to do 2 double crochets. Then in that white stitch, we're going to do 1 double crochet. And that's how we're going to do it down the row, so that we get a nice corner there. So when we come back around, we'll have something to work with. Okay, we're going to do that all the way around the blanket until we get back to where we put our stitch marker at the beginning. Okay? Because I know I said earlier that we're going to do the ends and then the sides, but what I forgot was we're doing a double border, so I wanted to show you that, a double border. So we're going to go all the way around like this on the outside, working from the front. Make sure you work back to your stitch marker, go down that rough side like we're doing this one, and I'll catch back up with you when we get back to our stitch marker. Okay, so that's all I'm doing is my double crochets down this side, pushing those strings forward. Okay, we're coming up on the purple section, so we're going to get 2 double crochets in there. Then we have another white stitch, so we're going to get 1 double crochet in there, and then move on down the line that same way. That helps us to start securing those wild hairs back there. And they'll all disappear when we do our second border. So I'll catch up with you when we get back to the stitch marker. Okay, so I am at the stitch marker where we started, and as you can see, I've done the double crochet all the way around. I tried to keep it as even as possible, doing 2 in the purple, 1 in the white. So it looks pretty good all the way around. So I have 1 more left here. And then I'm going to chain 1 because we didn't chain 1 to start. Then I'm going to take out my stitch marker and just join to that first one. Just like that, and chain 1. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a double crochet, front post, double crochet, back post, double crochet, front post, back post, front post, back post, front post, back post, front post, and we're going to do that all the way around. Just like that, all the way around, front post, back post. Starting in that first one with our front post double crochet, that chain doesn't count. And we're going to do that all the way around. We're just creating a nice edging there. So I'm going to put my stitch marker there in my first stitch because that's where we'll rejoin. And when we go right here, we'll do the same thing. We'll do a chain 1 to connect there. When we get to the corner over here, we'll just keep doing front, back, front, back, front, back post. We go to the corner, we'll just chain 1 and then move around and do the same thing all the way around to the finish. So I'll meet you at the finish and we'll go from there. So I'm here at the corner, the first corner, so I'm going to show you what we're going to do at the corner. My last one was a front post double crochet, so we're going to yarn over in that chain space we created on the corner there. The one chain space, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet, all in that same space. Okay? Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in that corner space. Yarn over, and then there's our first stitch on that side. We're going to do that as a front post. It may not be the same on every corner. I'm not sure. I didn't count the stitches. I ended with the front post, so I started with the front post, and I'll see what the other corner brings me. So that's what I'm doing here, and then I wanted to show you the corner there. So now this would be a back post, front post, back post, front post, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, and that's what we're doing. So we'll see what we get at the other corner. And you see a lot of our strings now have disappeared, so we're having less and less of those. And by the time we do the other side of the border, we'll have none. So I'll meet you up at the other corner. Now see here on this corner, as I was saying earlier, it might not be the same. So here's my front post, and then I have one more, and it's a back post double crochet. And then I'm just going to yarn over, go into my chain space on the corner, and do the same thing. One double crochet, one chain, one double crochet. And then we'll start with a back post. Just like that side. So our sides will be the same. And then just continue going around. So we'll just keep going around and go all the way back, doing the same thing all the way around until we get back to our stitch marker. And I'll meet you there. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row, and what we're going to do here, I finished on a back post, so I'm going to go into our space, one double crochet, one chain, one double crochet, and then we're going to connect to that first one we did with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then we're going to go right into this back post here for our next row around, which we're going to do another row exactly the same way. I'm going to put my marker in so I know when I'm coming to the end, and we'll just continue around in the one we just did. Like right here it is. See, back post, front post, back post, And you'll just continue all the way around and come back to this very beginning point. And that'll be the end of this part of the edging. And then I'll show you what we're going to do to make a double border, which will completely get rid of all the strings. Okay? So go all the way around and get back to your stitch marker, and then don't cut your yarn or anything until I tell you to. And I'll catch up with you there. Well, everyone, we've gotten to the thing you've been waiting for, the double edge on our little blanket. So I have completed all the way around to where my stitch marker was. I'm going to leave it in there. And I've just, tied off my yarn, like you usually do. And I'm just going to leave that in there so I'll know that that's where I stopped. So that is the front of the blanket. And here is the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to be working on the back side now, because we're going to do the edge border on the back. Now this side we're going to go into the stitches a little bit. This is not normally how I would show you how to do a double edge border, so I'm going to do another one on something else. But this is a very short, small border, and this side is different from this side. Normally that's not my case. So we're just going to make this work because I want to cover either that. If you don't want to do this, you can just sew all your little ends in. You can do that as well. So I'm not going to start on the corner. We're going to just start somewhere in here. And I'm going to go, let me make sure you can see where my stitch is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just go under here and go in between the stitches. Okay? Just go under, go in between the stitches. Like that. That's where we're going to work on that side. And on this side, we're going to do the same thing, but you see these stitches look a little different here, because we went down, this is the side. So we're going to do that. We're going to go in under there the same, and just in between the stitches. You see that? And that's what we're going to do. That's not normally how I would show you how to do this, but that's how we're going to do it for this one. So I'm just going to put my yarn through. I'm going to pull it through. I'm just going to give it a little tie here at the back. That will be up inside there later. I'm going to go through just like I showed you and pull up a slip stitch like that. Okay. Just like if you're starting a row, and then I'm going to go right back under that same stitch, pull it through, and we're going to do a single crochet. Okay. Then you're going to go up under between the next two stitches, pull your loop through, single crochet. Go under in between the next two, single crochet. Okay, you see, go under the next one, single crochet. Go under there in between the next two stitches, single crochet. The next two, single crochet. The next two, single crochet. Just like that, that's what we're doing. We're just going to single crochet around there all the way to the corner. When you get to the corner, I'll show you what we're going to do there. And we're just making a row of single crochet, as you can see there. And we're going to do it all the way around our piece. So I want to get to this one so I can show you the corner. You can put a stitch marker where you started if you want to. I mean, it's pretty obvious where you started. We're going into that one. Now we're here. Whoops. And now you see we're at the corner. And we're going to go right into this corner stitch here in the middle there. And just do a single crochet, chain one, and another single crochet all in that same spot, so we'll have a little corner there. And then you just move right into your next, in between your next stitch. There's two together, and that where it used to be the purple part, that's where we did the two together. And you'll just do that. Single crochet in between the stitches, just like we did on the other side. It just looks a little bit different. So now here's one, here's two. We're going to go underneath and in between the middle, pull that through, and do our single crochet. Same there with the next one. Go in between the next two, single crochet. Go in between the next two, single crochet. Go in between the next two, underneath and in between. Go underneath here and in between those two. Don't worry about those little loose strings or ends. We'll deal with those later. I just want to show you what we're doing. And so when you get to the next corner, well, let's find it. See, like we'll get to this corner and it won't be white, but it's the same situation, you know, where you'll be going under. Like, you know, you'd be in here and then you get to the corner and you go right in the space, do your single crochet, chain one single crochet, and then move on to that side. So that's all we're going to do here is a single row of crochets all the way around. And it'll look sort of like this. It is a single crochet. Because we're not going to do the same on the back that we did on the front. So just single crochet all the way around, just like I've shown you, and I'll meet up with you. And when you get back to your starting point, I should put a marker in that point so I'll be aware of it. And like I said, if you don't want to do this, you can just get your old darning needle out and sew all the ends in and be done. But this makes it a little bit more finished looking. So that's where we started, so I'm just going all the way around and meet back up here, okay? And then when you get back here, I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so when you get your first row of singles done all the way around what I showed you earlier, you'll just join like you normally would to the first one and then chain one. And start another row of singles all the way around the piece of work. As I have done, you get to the corner, you'll do the same thing where you did the two in the chain. You'll do one, chain one, then move around the corner. And you'll see that it's moving up the other ribbing. And eventually we'll meet this one and put them together. So continue around. I've been working on mine. So I'm up to this area, and I'm just doing single crochets in the the second row of single crochets. And that's all you're going to do around, so you'll do the first two rows single crochets. And then when you get back to the beginning of the second row of single crochets, you'll do the same thing. Connect to the first one and just chain one, and we'll pick up from there. because there's only really 3 rows to do. Okay? And I'll show you what we're going to do then to pull them together. And then we'll have our double border. So finish those 2 rows and I'll meet up with you there. Okay, so we've done our first 2 rows of our single crochets for our double edge. So we're going to chain 1. And then in the first stitch, we're going to put a double crochet. Our last row is going to be double crochets. Just follow your stitches around, the same as you just did. And doing the double crochets brings us right up to the level of the outer band. And then we'll put the 2 together when we finish this row, and I'll show you how to do that. Now I'm going to put my stitch marker in my beginning. Good habits, good habits, good habits. Yeah. So we're going to go around the whole piece and do our last row, which is a double crochet. And I'll meet you back up here and show you how we're going to put them together. Okay? Okay, so I've finished all the 3 rows. And now you see everything's going to get enclosed in the little canal there. So what we're going to do now, I've brought it together and closed my row with my first stitch, of course, chain 1. And I'm just going to match up as best I can. It won't be perfect, but it won't matter. And just go through with a slip stitch through, each stitch from one side to the other, and just do a slip stitch. And we're going to go all the way around and do this. And you just get it, as matched as you can get it. Which should be pretty close. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. And so what we're doing, and we'll just go around the corner. And when you get to the corner here, of course, you won't be doing anything in the pocket there, in the little space. We're just going to keep going all the way around with the slip stitch until you get back to where you started. Good habits, good habits. Put in my stitch marker at my start, because you could get lost on this row. Well, I guess it's open, so you should know that, oh, that's the end. But, you never know. So then when we're done, that's what it's going to look like, and that's really nice, isn't it? And if you turn it over, and that gets rid of all those little threads and things that were driving you so crazy all this time. Like, here they are. They're in there. And you just tuck them all in. And they all disappear inside. Just like magic. Tuck it in. My tension is not really tight or anything on here. It's just basically sort of normal, maybe a little bit loose, but not too much. Because you want it to come together. And like I said at the corner, we're not doing anything special there. There's my corner. I just held those 2 together so I know that's where the corner is. And then you just keep going around. And it just gives you a really nice finish. And a nice thick edging there that feels a little more expensive, really. And we'll do this again on another project where I can show you much easier and a better way to do it. But this was how we did it for this pattern. It was a last moment surprise. So we'll just keep, like I said, moving around from side to side. Pull it through and do your slip stitch. Move on. Quite simple. So I will catch up with you when we get to the end of this, and I'll show you what it looks like completed. So it's a fun pattern, and if, like I said, you don't have to do this edge. You could do whatever edge you want, but the blanket's great for this. It's 40 by 50, great for Camp Boggy Creek. So yeah, here we are, and I'm going to finish this and catch up with you when I'm done and show you the finished throw. So here we are with the finished product. I've done my edging all the way around, both sides, and this is what you have. So you have a beautiful border all the way around your piece, nice and textured and some fullness and thickness in there. It just gives it a really, really nice edge. So I hope you enjoy this pattern. I'll see you really soon. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Okay, so I just want to go over this little finished product and show it to you what it looks like. It's really beautiful. And you could use either side of it because it does have the double edge on it. So it would be good for either side.